I'm about to change the way you view success forever. And the very first thing we have to ask ourselves is, why do most people start a business in the first place? And the answer to that is to become successful. Okay. But why do people want to become successful? And the answer to that is two main reasons: status and freedom. And so 99% of people start a business because they want status or freedom. Okay, and most of the times it's both of those factors combined. But it's not the main reason why most successful people continue running their business. Okay, sure, most people start a business because they want to obtain status and freedom, but to run a business, you need to have a deeper why than just wanting to look cool and wanting to have freedom. Okay. And so why do most successful people continue running their business? And the answer to that is because they love the game of business and the game of building something. And I want to quickly walk you through the story of Vinay Himarath, the founder of Loom. And so this is the story of the founder of Loom. He built up this massive company. I mean, we all use Loom. I'm literally recording this video on Loom. And he sold the company, and he was kind of confused afterwards on what to do with his life, because he's achieved everything he's ever wanted. And now he's kind of like, he doesn't know what to do. And so he founded Loom. He founded and built Loom, then sold it for $975 million, basically $1 billion. And then he was depressed and unmotivated after selling it. Okay. And so I'm going to read through this quickly. In his note, he talked about failing to find the motivation to work again, giving up the $60 million pay package, trying to be Elon Musk face. And so breaking up with his girlfriend, climbing mountains, working for Doge, studying physics, and more. So he was trying to become Elon Musk after he sold Loom. And I want to walk you through what exactly, how this went. And so he started by sharing about his lack of motivation and how he doesn't have the same base desires driving him to make money or gain status as he had before he became rich. And so he said, after selling my company, I find myself in the unrelatable position of never having to work again. Everything feels like a side quest, but not in an inspiring way. Okay. And so, he even got to a point where he wanted to start a robotics company to be like Elon Musk. And so, on his Elon Musk phase, he said he met with over 70 investors and founders in robotics. He wrote, I'd been learning about robotics for quite some time and was positive I wanted to throw myself into giving computers arms and legs. I'd come up with all the taglines to delude myself into thinking this was my life's calling. Everything had been leading to this exact point. And so at the end of 2 weeks, he realized that he didn't want to start a robotics company, and he was doing all this just because he wanted to look like Elon Musk. And so he said he cringed at his own actions, saying that it hurts to even type this out. Okay. And so if you're doing something like starting a robotics company or any sort of, big risky business like robotics, you have to have a deeper why than just, wanting to look like another person who's, dominated that space. And so he ended up not doing it because trying to look like Elon Musk wasn't a big enough why. And so what is the point of this entire story I just walked you through? And so if you get into something because you're chasing status, it's going to be very hard to get yourself to work on it every day if you don't love it, if you don't actually love what you're building and the service you're providing to the world. If you're just doing it because you want to get rich and have freedom, then that's not a deep enough why. Then life will be so, you'll be so nihilistic. Life will have no meaning once you've obtained all that money. Okay. And so don't fixate on outcomes. Instead, focus on the inputs required to achieve those outcomes. And so most people wake up every day somewhat motivated to work because of the goal they have set for themselves. Fixating on the goal isn't a bad idea, but it doesn't incentivize and motivate you to create the highest quality work you possibly can. Okay. And so focus on the inputs. If you wake up every day excited to create quality work that will make an impact, then you'll be much more incentivized to try as hard as you can to produce the highest quality work, which will ultimately lead to the best outcomes. So instead of, for example, here's examples of some goals. If, for example, your goal is reaching 10K per month, don't focus on that. Focus on the inputs needed to reach 10K per month. So, for example, create two YouTube videos per week, or, spend 100 days in ads, or, test these many ads, or reach out to these many people. Focus on the inputs needed to achieve that outcome, to achieve that goal. If you want to get a six-pack, let's say six-pack, instead of focusing on my goal is to get a six-pack, you want to make your goal to train your hardest every day and make that your pride. If your goal is to become rich, then focus on the input of building the best business. Okay, the biggest business, the business that provides the most valuable, and even that you can reverse engineer that to more specific inputs. But you see what I mean? If you make the goal the input, the actual work that you're doing, then the outcome will come, and you'll achieve higher quality outcomes and higher quality goals and higher quality results, opposed to if you're just fixating on the outcome and the goal in the first place. And so what is the result of making this mental switch? Well, higher quality inputs will ultimately lead to higher quality outputs. And so what is the biggest success killer? It's lack of focus. And look, the truth is that in today's world, everything is engineered to get you addicted and kill your focus. Things like social media, food, entertainment, all these things, there's millions of, scientists, engineers, people working. So your attention is always hooked on it, and you're always buying it, and you're always, refreshing your Instagram feed, or you're always eating these sweets because you're hooked on them, or you're always, watching YouTube videos. Watching YouTube videos like this is fine, of course, because you're coming with the mindset of trying to learn and trying to start something and build something. But if you're just watching pure entertainment all day long and not doing anything productive, then you want to obviously switch from doing that. Okay. And so abstain from these addictions. And the main way you want to do that, the main focus, is a chemical in your brain called dopamine. You've probably heard about it all the time. Everyone talks about it, but here's how it works. Nobody actually explains how it works. And so dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in the brain that helps regulate mood, motivation, reward, and movement. It plays a key role in feelings of pleasure, focus, and drive. But imbalances can contribute to conditions like depression, addiction, or even things like Parkinson's disease. And so every time you do something extremely pleasurable, like watching social media, or eating some crazy fast food, or doing something that you're not supposed to do a lot, but you can do every once in a while, it triggers dopamine. Okay. And so every time your dopamine gets triggered, you crave it more, and it's harder for you to focus. And here's how it works. So, each morning, sleep resets your dopamine baseline. So it stabilizes your mood and focus. Pleasurable activities like social media, sugary foods, etc. cause dopamine spikes, temporarily lowering your baseline. This makes focusing on less stimulating tasks harder, as your brain craves stronger rewards. And to maintain balance, limit high reward activities, take low stimulation breaks, and prioritize sleep and exercise. Okay. And so once you've lowered your dopamine baseline, it's nearly impossible to focus on lower pleasurable tasks, important tasks that actually move the business forward. Okay. And so try to shorten the gap between the time when you wake up and when you actually get to work, because every time you wake up, your dopamine baseline resets and you're able to focus. But if the first thing you do is pick up your phone and scroll on Instagram or social media, then your dopamine baseline gets lower and lower, and you crave it more and more, and it becomes harder for you to focus and easier for you to give into things like eating fast food, or, scrolling on Instagram, playing video games, those types of things. So as soon as you wake up, try to, maybe exercise, that's fine, and try to get to work as quickly as possible. So that way you don't have the opportunity of lowering your dopamine baseline by doing things like scrolling on social media, etc. And so the longer it takes for you to get to work, the higher the chance of you doing activities that trigger your dopamine, which will make it extremely difficult to focus. Okay. And so intense focus plus doing something truly fulfilling equals inevitable success. And so picture this, you start your business, you're chasing your dreams, but you haven't seen much results quite yet, which is completely normal, especially in the beginning. You need to build up momentum first. And the people around you find out about your business, friends, family, etc., and they judge you and make fun of you for trying to do something different. Here's how you should handle it. First thing you need to understand is you had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born. Apparently, scientists, researchers calculated that the chances of you specifically and not someone else being born was 1 in 400 trillion. That's insane. Just try to visualize that somehow. That's insane. And so you want to make the best out of this one life you get. And if you stop chasing your dreams because of other people's opinions, you will regret it in 5-10 years. If you look back on this and, you stop building that business, you stop chasing your dreams because of, some random person, some random friend, some family member told you that it was stupid or dumb and you should do something else, and you listen to them, then you will regret that. And so if people think you're weird or cringe for trying to make your dreams happen, just keep in mind that once you achieve them, they will be asking you how you did it. And I love this visual right here that, if you have an idea, the gap in between an idea and getting results is you can either be cool and not do it and, fit in with everyone, or you can, be cringe and let everyone make fun of you, but you're actually walking over and you're making progress to achieving your dreams and achieving those results. Okay. And so it's just a harsh truth, and it's reality of, making your dreams happen. But eventually, once they do happen, people will be asking you how you did it, and they'll be seeking for advice. A real life example of this that actually happened recently was I had this friend who was starting his online fitness coaching business. He was posting content on Instagram, and some of his school friends from his college, his technical school, found out he was posting content on Instagram for this business, and they bought like 500 fake followers on that Instagram account. And, it kind of put him down or whatever. But if you truly just disassociate these people's opinions and their thoughts on what you're doing, and you just fully focus on what you're doing with tunnel vision and get to those results eventually, then those same people will be asking, hey man, remember back when we were cool? How'd you make this happen? How'd you get these results? Or can you teach me how to do it? But always stay level-headed and always just focus on what you're trying to achieve by focusing on the inputs needed to achieve them. So that being said, go make your dreams happen. Okay, focus on the inputs, ignore others' opinions. You can always take constructive criticism, but take everything with a grain of salt and make your dreams happen. And if you want to learn how to partake in the biggest industrial revolution that's currently happening right now in our lifetime, click the first link in the description to join the AI Scaling Specialist School community completely for free. We have hundreds of entrepreneurs in there who are all looking to partake in this massive revolution that's happening. So if you want insights on how to scale with AI offers and how to leverage AI to scale your agency, go in there, direct access to me, and I'll see you on the inside.